Trying to simulate armored combat is a little bit tricky. By definition, you're trying to hurt someone through all the protective gear, so it's very difficult to do safely. Most scoring systems we've seen that try and work around that usually involve trying to plant thrusts into unprotected areas in the armor or throws going for a dominant position, but there's a lot of techniques that you just can't do safely, so a lot of times it comes into very lower intensity type sparring. Blood and Iron currently doesn't do armored combatives, but it's on the list for the future.
Yes, we gear up to prevent injury, but not pain. If you take a good shot, yes, you're going to feel it. We have found that over-armoring lends people to not respect the weapon. It usually turns into two guys just bashing the crap out of each other, so we don't encourage you to use too much armor. You want to be able to feel it if you get hit.
Fencing comes from defense. However, when you're using weapons, the best way to make someone stop trying to hurt you is really to remove their ability to do so. So yes, being offensive is very important. If you can take them out of the fight, you're by definition safe, as long as you haven't sustained injury doing so.
Control is a major part of any martial art, and as long as you know your limits and work within them, you can train safely. It can be done, but it wasn't very popular. Sticking your leg out makes you vulnerable to other kinds of attacks. There are plenty of close combat and grappling techniques that you could use instead. In this case, the defender, myself, is expecting to feel an impact on the sword. When I don't get it, well, I'm going to hang there for a second. I could drop my sword down, but that's not going to have enough rotation to do anything. If I try to rotate my sword, well, that gives Sean time to actually react and use a technique of his own.
That's mainly the camera. However, you also consider, we're not aiming just to touch the opponent with the tip of the sword. We're aiming to hit with the center of percussion, which is where you want to land cuts so that they would actually do damage if you were using a sharp blade. If you're just aiming to touch the opponent, may or may not work so well if you were actually fighting with real swords. Well, that's definitely a loaded question. Really, in order to create an authentic martial arts, you're very much tied to the historical sources. You can make up whatever you want that works in whatever test you're using, sparring, tournaments, or whatever, but you can never really know if it would work. That said, the masters didn't include a lot of things, and we have to find ways to either recreate or fill in the blanks, and that's when you really need to go above and beyond, start looking at modern sports science, what other martial arts are doing, and incorporate the whole package together. So, can you expand past the historical sources? No, but do you definitely bring in a lot of other things to help you understand them? Absolutely. No, there aren't any bloopers.
Mistake.
My streak.